All right, we're in 4-6A digs, and I'll tell you what, if you look back at the all-district team from last year, there's more dragons in this tip than there was in Game of Thrones. The way it was going, offensive, defensive player of the year, offensive player of the year, coach of the year, all this stuff, and I can't see him not sweeping this year. Talk to me about how good this team is going to be.
When I was doing my rankings this last month, Ward, and trying to figure out the spring rankings, I was really struggling because when I was thinking about Southlake, Duncanville, and North Crowley, I really feel like Southlake Carroll has the one of the best chances of all of the teams in the area to win a state championship. But they're in that very weird predicament where they could go D1 or D2 based on how the other teams in the district go. North Crowley has the same problem, so there's just really not a guarantee of where they're going to go or what their playoff road is going to be. So that kind of gave me a little bit of pause. But what they are returning back, D1, D2, I don't know if it matters. It looks absolutely incredible. Their whole offense is returning, Ward. Angelo Renda last year had a sensational sophomore campaign, 3,900 yards passing, 670 yards rushing, 40 touchdowns, Ward, 14 touchdowns rushing. This guy did it all and came out of nowhere as a sophomore to do it. And all of his surrounding parts are back. Davis Penn really stepped up last year, 925 yards rushing, 18 touchdowns. His whole wide receiving core is back. Brock Boyd, just absolutely a phenomenal, reliable receiver, 1,868 yards receiving last year and 19 touchdowns. He's got younger guys and Blake Gunter coming back and Brady Knowles coming back. Even their tight end, Jacob Bobrowski. That is a football name, Ward. Jacob Bobrowski. Just absolutely being looked at by colleges. Four returning offensive linemen that made all district honors last year, and their kicker was all state, all region last year in Gavin Strange, and he plays safety, Ward. I mean, he is an incredible first team player. The athletes on Southlake Carroll are really top notch. They've all bought into what Riley Dodge is doing. Jake Lucky, a defensive player who's running really well. William Chen. This is a team that just looks like they're going to capitalize on the knowledge that they got 16 games last year. They didn't make it to the top, but I think this is a team that is on a revenge mission, and only one thing is going to satiate the Dragons this year, Ward. It's not a district title. It's going to be holding up the trophy in AT&T Stadium in December. This is a team that is state championship or bust this year.
Yeah, they're definitely hungry for it. And usually, the last couple of years in this district, we were like, okay, the top tier is Southlake and Byron Nelson, maybe Trinity. But I think they've taken over that top tier by themselves, regardless of how talented these other teams are, just because they're that talented. Because you didn't even mention their linebacking core. You didn't get to the defense yet because the defense is almost just as good. They got a heck of a linebacking core with William Chin back and a couple other guys. Man, they're just stacked. Who else can possibly get in there and try to help them try to get a playoff spot or give them a game within 3 touchdowns?
I think this district has changed a little bit, like you alluded to in your promo, is because I think Byron Nelson, it's been the Byron Nelson and Southlake Carroll show. It's weird to think about, but just a couple of years ago, Byron Nelson beat Southlake Carroll. And I think Byron Nelson is taking a few steps back. They had a really talented class. And just with what Byron Nelson has had to go through as a program and just the graduation over the last couple of years has really impacted them. Byron Nelson, I mean, they still got Parker Almanza. When you know you got an Almanza in the family, things are going to be good for you at Byron Nelson. I'm hearing good things out of the community about the quarterback, Colton Waddle. So I think that Byron Nelson is going to be okay. But Euless Trinity, Ward, is a team that they look like they made a step over the last couple of years. And I think they might be right back ready to be competing in the state consciousness. Everybody's been talking about John Meredith. I remember last year, Ward, you're talking about John Meredith, and he has really shined on the recruiting stages. Pretty much name your college, he's got an offer from there. Teo Katoa is getting really good looks on the offensive line, and Leonte Chandler. JT Harris is back, Ward. I mean, he had a great year last year, and I hear the quarterback over there has got a last name that you probably have heard of, Mac Lineweaver. And I always say, when you got a quarterback who's a coach's son, that's what family dinners are all about. They're sitting there talking about
Yeah.
plays and scheming things. So if you've got a Lineweaver who's going to be at starting quarterback with all of that talent, I don't know if Euless Trinity is in the conversation of Southlake Carroll good, but regionally they're going to be very good, and they may be very well into the third or fourth round this year with the talent that they have. I think Euless Trinity is a clear second place team in this district.
He probably puts Nelson at 3. And you mentioned if you have a coach's son as quarterback, and that's what's going over in Justin Northwest as well. They got Trey Poe over there. I think that's coach's son, right?
Yeah, and what's crazy about Trey is he's even better at baseball than he is at football. And I think of the Plano East quarterback Drew from a couple of years ago, who ended up going to Rice and ended up playing baseball and football. And Trey Poe very well could be in that same mode. But Justin Northwest graduated heavily last year. They do got Tyler Singer coming back as a receiver. He had 570 yards, but they were really relying on Nate Jean in that running game last year. And I don't know who's going to replace that kind of offensive efficiency. So I actually have Justin Northwest on the outside looking in. The team I'm excited about at the number 4 spot, and just the way their fortunes ran last year, Justin Northwest lost their way into the playoffs. Keller was probably the 4th best team at the end of the year, but Northwest had won that game earlier in the season. They got Brock Burkett coming back. He was a quarterback who was more of a backup last year. They rotated him in and out, but he got very pivotal playing time. He had 500 yards rushing and passing last year. Brock Meek is a player that I'm excited about at wide receiver. Matthew Reagan at linebacker. Quentin Shropshire is a running back I think we're going to hear of over the next couple of years. I think Keller, traditionally, and with the depth that they got and the players that I see, I've got them at number 4 right now. But this district, relative to some of the other districts, it's a very strong district from 1 to 7, 1 to 8. So it would not surprise me to see one of the teams that are in the bottom 3 that actually rise up and challenge for the 4th playoff spot, because Northwest Eaton, LD Bell, Timber Creek, these are all teams that we have talked about in a playoff position in the last couple of years. And I don't think they're just going to roll over and accept Keller as our de facto number 4.
True. Yeah, and talking to Eaton's head coach, Ellis Miller, he's so excited about Chris Duarte coming back. I think he only played like 2 or 3 games last year. People forgot about him, but he had over 1,000 2 years ago. And then they had that edge rusher and Elijah Lash back there too. They have some talented players, but maybe they're lacking in the depth.
And don't forget about Micah Rivers, who had to step in for Chris when he got hurt. He still had 750 yards and 4 touchdowns, and he's coming back. So I think their coaching staff is going to find a way to get both of those on the field and really have some good offensive production. But I worry about the infrastructure with Eaton, the line. It wasn't what it was a couple of years ago when they were able to make some playoff runs. Timber Creek graduated heavy, but they've been a program that has been sneaky good over the last couple of years. And I think they've earned a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. Jackson Bass is really the only player of note coming back. LD Bell looks like they're a hard luck. They looked at this district, and I know they were frustrated. They were just coming off finally beating Trinity, and then they get put in this district, and I think that kind of deflated them. But they got Brendan Gleim coming back, 485 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns, and Braylon Solomon, a good wide receiver, 287 yards and a couple of touchdowns, has really done well in 7-on-7 and some of the camps around town. So LD Bell is got the talent. I just don't know if they've got the quarterback or the gunslinger who has proven that they can get it out. And then Keller Central, I think, is kind of the hard luck number 9. They were very young last year. They returned Spencer Martin at running back and Dylan McAfee, kind of the 2-headed monster. Between them, they had almost 1,000 yards of offensive production. So I think they're really going to lean on that. But again, the depth and the quality of the top 4 of this district, top 5 really of this district, are really what you have to keep an eye on. There are good teams in this district who would make playoffs in other districts, but in this district, they're going to be struggling for wins.
All right, run through 1 through 9 real quick, and we'll move on to the next district.
Southlake Carroll, number 1. Euless Trinity, number 2. Byron Nelson, number 3. I got Keller, number 4. Justin Northwest made the playoffs last year. I've got them at number 5. Northwest Eaton at 6. Keller Timber Creek at 7. LD Bell at 8. And Keller Central at 9.